Hey guys, we know this is the big pod. Feel free to skip through the chapters if you just want to go to the Supercars thing. We love all your comments. Like, subscribe. We really appreciate it. Back to the show.
Welcome to the Valve Bounce. We are back. I am Steve. Damo is with me. It has been a long time and we are so sorry. Damo got sick. I was sick. It was just a whole bunch of sickness going through the entire family, even though we hadn't seen each other for a while. How are you, mate?
Mate, I'm still on the mend, recovering. What a freaking a tough few weeks for us, and I'm feeling like I can get through most of this podcast. There will be times where I might just disappear because I'm having a coughing fit, but I'm good enough to get back in front of the camera. So let's kick off on all the amazing stuff because I mean, man, we've got the finale of the Supercars, we've got F1 turning themselves into the Supercars Finale, where it's do or die. We've got so much to cover, mate.
We do, and even more because we just haven't been here, and yes. I'm looking forward to editing all your coughs out of this one.
Nice.
All right, let's get into it because we had a race last weekend. It was Las Vegas, the big sparkly lights and all. It was pretty boring.
Yeah, that pretty much. We could probably pick out the top couple of things that we need to discuss, but the race, mate, cheapest.
What fucking race?
If it wasn't on in the afternoon for us, mate, I would not have survived a nighttime watch. That's for sure.
No, well, thankfully, we sort of missed it. We could fast forward through it all because we had a family function. So it's got home, hit the play button, saw the first corner, thought this is going to be amazing, and then it fizzled, and I had to fast forward a lot of it. But that's okay because that's what happens. At least we had a good qualifying, mate. Because a little bit of wet weather spices everything up.
It was very interesting to see. And was that the first time? I mean, certainly in a long time, wet weather tires, not intermediates. The first time ever that I can remember. So there you go.
They've been watching Supercars. That's what that is. They're like, if those boys can drive in the wet, we can drive in the wet. Give me those wet, son. Isn't it amazing if you're forced onto it that, you can actually do it? It's incredible.
It was at least a little bit exciting. And just when we thought we might have something fall our way, being the Oscar champs we are, that bloody yellow flag.
And Hadjar.
I think that was a result of the yellow from my understanding is that he decided to put his nose in under a yellow flag where he shouldn't have. And basically ruined Oscar. The yellow flag ruined his chance and Hadjar put the nail in the coffin. So it was great.
It was fantastic. I mean, look, I don't know about you, but this just makes it even better for the championship. Just all these things happening to Oscar. Like, what else? What else? Throw it at me. Come on. I've already got the knife in the heart, you p***s. Throw whatever you need at me, you bastards.
It was a refreshing change that it was something external than rather than his own team. So that was nice.
Well, that's true.
Yep.
Speaking of that, obviously, I think we'll switch this around. Double disqualification in the race for the McLarens. Tell me you don't give a f*** without telling me you don't give a f***. Because McLaren, clearly, now that the constructors title is all out of the way, they do not care. They just, whatever, mate. Not my problem. Don't care.
Nothing was more telling than whilst we're all waiting for the update of that investigation and whether they're going to be disqualified, but seeing one Mark Webber and one Oscar Piastri leaving the McLaren suite with a wry smile on their faces. that was enough for us to, for me to tell you, like, they're done. They've got it.
Literally.
Lots of talk about how the FIA kind of noticed that a lot of teams were using external tools to kind of either heat or, cool those parts of the plank and that got ruled out. And it does look like that perhaps the miscalculation happened from McLaren on that front. They just wore too thin.
Yep.
and it was very interesting that what is normally a random check was actually the top 10. And so it did capture not just podium sitters, but also Oscar. Because could you imagine if Lando was disqualified, but they didn't assess Oscar's car? Like, there would have been so many explosions that would have happened off of that.
Oh yeah, but they're not going to do that now. I think the whole top 10 thing was, as you said, a result of Brazil, whereby they sort of found out that teams were employing tactics that potentially were not quite by the rules and regs, and all of a sudden it's McLaren that's been caught out. Don't know how to feel about it, to be honest. Like, it's a good thing for Oscar because he doesn't lose that 6 points to Lando.
Yep. But
it's a bad thing for Oscar because now Max Verstappen, insert Super Max thing here, is next to him at 366 points. And I'm sitting here going, how did we get here?
Just how? We got here because McLaren is incapable of managing drivers, incapable of trying to secure a championship for the right people. They want their man to win, and now we have less than a race win between first, second, and third. So it's all on Lando because basically he's got to finish ahead of these boys, and he's going to win. But in reality, in the first time in many races, we actually saw Lando crack again. Verstappen was slow to the grid, was kind of stalling a little bit. Lando got in his head again. And what happened at turn 1, Steve?
Oh, he covered him off beautifully and then sailed past the corner itself.
Almost chopped his nose off, and then, didn't allow for the dusty line and just went straight ahead.
Did you hear the interview with Max after the race about it? Yeah. Where they asked him, what do you think happened there, and what would you have done differently? He goes, well, obviously at the end of the day, he did everything right, except if it was me, I would have made the corner.
Yeah, just classic Max at the moment, and he's just doing like he's at the point where he really does deserve this title because he has put in all the hard yards just to keep his nose where he needs to. And then this has just been delivered on a silver platter to end up 24 points behind.
Yeah, look, it's still a long, long shot. And the same with Oscar, right? Like, it's a long, long shot to get this done from here. Lando's hit form right at the time that really Oscar fell off a cliff, and regardless of tinfoiled hat and everything else, at the end of the day, Oscar hasn't been delivering either. So it's a combination of the two, and it shows. It really does show. And now we have Max, who loves a sniff, and he's basically just entered the home stretch, and he can see Lando. Like, he can see him just in the front. He's just there. He's tantalizing, and you know what he's going to do. He's going to mess with his head, and he's going to scare him off the track. And I will actually watch these last 2 races because I actually think it might be entertaining.
Well, yeah, I think that is, to be frank, that Piastri doesn't seem to have what he needs to be up there, but his biggest chance is getting a result off the back of those 2 tangling ahead of him. Because as the pressure builds, it is very likely that Max might just do a little bit of a lunge where he shouldn't. Lando's going to be a bit like he was in turn 1, all over the place, not quite where he needs to be. There is a very real possibility that something like that could happen that would then turn it on its head again for the final race. But yeah, I mean, let's close out on Vegas a little bit. So it was an absolute boring race. Tell me, what was your favorite bit? What did you enjoy the most? Because I know what my daughter enjoyed the most.
Oh, well, look, I mean, Terry Crews was pretty entertaining. That was about it.
My daughter saw a pink Lego car, and she goes, "Is that Terry Crews?" making my way, and I can't see it because we'll get pinged, but she really enjoyed that. So yeah, that was kind of a little bit of a funny thing that happened that actually added some value to the race. Because yeah, it was pretty quiet. Oscar did a great job of just, I guess McLaren kind of did the right strategy for once and got him where he needed to be.
Oh, would you say? I wouldn't say that.
I would say, well, you want to be like Ferrari, who made those choices and ended up further back?
No, but
Mm,
when you look at, I mean, at the end of the day, it didn't matter. They got
true.
disqualified. The fact that they were behind Antonelli started 17th. I wouldn't say that's
Yeah,
a
he was the
masterclass.
biggest winner of working the strategy correctly,
Oh yeah,
McLaren, which was awesome. But yeah, I think they did a reasonable job where they could actually keep him ahead of those key people to help him with the points that he ended up getting taken off.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think you need. Yeah, I mean, you're right, but ultimately, car speed wins your titles. You need the car
Yeah,
speed. He doesn't have the car speed at the moment, so
he doesn't.
we'll go to the next one for him. But yeah, just to close out on Antonelli, anyone starting 17th, and look, that qualifying session was bloody tricky, as
Yeah.
determined by Lewis Hamilton being last. It's an incredible thing to come from 17th and finish fourth at a track that you can't pass at. Obviously, it's all strategy, but to make the
Yep.
tyres last and do the Lawson effect, we'll call it the Lawson effect,
Yep.
after Brazil, is a great effort, because he was holding off Piastri and Leclerc, probably the two more
Yeah.
aggressive drivers in the field. So yeah, well done to Antonelli. I thought that was pretty good.
Yes.
But speaking of Lawson,
Yeah. Turn one.
I don't even know what to say.
I've got
Hey.
the meme from Kung Fu Panda with the turtle. My time has come, and I think Mr. Lawson, like, that was just, hell, like, what
Yeah.
is that? And then
That,
poor Oscar, like, have I got damage? Am I okay? You know?
that was shit. And I get it. It was low grip surface, a lot of easy faults to be made. Like, even,
Yeah.
who was the other one? I'm trying to think. Was it Bortoletto that also had
Oh,
the clash of a
well,
century that was like Grosjean? Or
mate,
almost could have been a Grosjean.
it could have been Grosjean, could have been Bottas from Hungary, could have been Stroll numerous times. Like, just basically bowling. He just went bowling. Like, there was this massive gap ahead
Kamikaze.
of him, and he's just going, look at this space. Yeah, yeah. Just totally rookie error. Made a mistake. So that was a pretty crap one from him.
Yeah, so fair to Lawson that it wasn't just him that did it.
Yeah,
Bortoletto did exactly the same thing, if not worse.
yeah.
But these little things need to stop for Lawson. Like, he's had a good sort of run with
Mm,
pace and keeping up with Hadjar and stuff, but it's those little mistakes that could eventually cost him that seat. And I'd like to see him get a full season with a preseason start, just with one team, to see how he
yeah,
goes. Because I think he's just been too disrupted this year.
yeah. Yeah, it's been pretty. It has been a tough year for him. So you do give him that slack, but yeah, geez, this wasn't going so well for him. But anyway, I guess a couple of things that we could touch on as we close out, sort of the Vegas thing. What about that shot with all the marshals on the track whilst people are driving around under a VSC?
2 out of 3, Damo. Two
Yeah.
out of three races where we've had marshals running out on a live track, and I don't care. I saw, was it? It must have been Sky saying, "Oh, but it's okay because they were in the runoff zone." No, that's not okay. Those cars are barreling at that section flat out, and it's a heavy braking zone. Anything goes wrong, it's like bowling with people.
Yeah, well, that was, I tell you, bowling. I can't believe you were listening to the Sky coverage. I've been enjoying the F1 commentary team. Thank you, KO, here in Australia, for allowing us to have the F1 team commentary. Because
I haven't found the button yet.
it's a separate channel you got to click on, but it is so much better. But yeah, that Marshall thing was just ridiculous. Like, I mean, like, we think back a few years where Michael Massey was under the pump for a lot of things, where he's trying to keep the flow of the race going, trying to, make things as fast and streamlined as possible. He was thrown, to the wolves. We have had numerous instances this year where the safety and now the last two, of course, but the safety of the marshals and the drivers have been put at risk. And something is going terribly wrong, and that they have got to. I mean, there's not many races left, but they've got to fix it for next year. It's just ridiculous,
mate. They need to start paying people. I think they need proper people, proper training. This volunteer stuff is clearly not working. Although I do believe in this case, this was a directive from the FIA and that they're comfortable with it. That spikes more in my head than what happened at Mexico, which was Mexico being Mexico. I can't sit here and say that's the way we want to go forward. We just don't. That's not what we want to see. We don't want to see people on the track at all when there are cars going, or essentially a hot track, not under control. Can't do it. Just can't do it. People on track, put out a VSC. Can't put out a VSC? Well, then put out a safety car. I don't care what you do, but you have to control the field. You just have to.
Yep.
All right, so let's switch up, mate. Let's leave Vegas in the dust or the water or whatever you want to call it. And we're going to the sand. We're into Qatar.
Yes.
What a segue that was. Tick. All right. Smooth operator. No, we're not Carlos Sainz. All right. Happy hunting ground for our top three this place. Every one of them has had success at Qatar. What are we thinking?
I think it's turned into an absolute ball buster of an event to watch. That's for sure. We've got a sprint race plus a full race. And so, it is going to be great watching throughout the weekend because, everything is going to make a difference. How you go in the FP1, how the sprint, the quali and the sprint race go, and then the regular race and quali is going to be eye-opening. But, as I mentioned, I really feel like Verstappen is just going to be the spanner in the works here, and he's just going to cause a little bit more chaos, I think.
Oh, I think he will cause chaos, but I want to know who's going to crash into who because, you got two desperate drivers and one guy who wants to hold on to his lead. So who hits who? Is it Oscar into Norris? Is it Verstappen into Norris? Is it Verstappen and Oscar? Which one hit? Are all three of them going to hit? I don't know. I'm predicting one has a doozy at some point, and we have two cars in a sand trap. Building sandcastles.
Imagine that.
So we're going to see anyone else actually get into this? I mean, like, can we see a Ferrari or a Merc sort of have a play in this space? I mean, it's a really hot track. I feel like McLaren had the advantage at really hot tracks earlier in the season. We know that the Red Bull is a much better car now in those sorts of scenarios. So Ferrari, maybe not.
Maybe not. I'm not really sure what to think of Ferrari because they have these moments where, like, I think they've got that pace, that speed, but then
smooth track.
Yeah, so you should expect that they will be better there. If we think they went reasonably well there last year, so you think that would be all right. Mercedes have seemed to turn around this hot track anomaly thing, so they've been better at the warmer tracks. They've got good pace at the moment. They're good in Vegas. So, I reckon that, as I think we sort of mentioned a few weeks back, is that these, the Ferrari and McLaren are going to throw a bit of a spanner and cause a bit of a gap between some of these drivers. If Oscar can't get the pace he needs, he's going to end up, third, fourth, fifth again.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to up the ante. And look, he said in a recent post that he's looking to win the last two. So I think that's really important, and I think he needs to go and do that 100% if he wants to give himself any shot at this title from
Yeah,
here. But the question is just how desperate these guys get in at this track, and you know, do they overstep and put themselves in a position that they're further back after qualifying. We know that Lando, although been great recent time, he does have a tendency to overstep when he feels he has to find more.
Yep.
And if Max suddenly puts on the pressure, we know that he's going to be in trouble. So
Yeah.
he's definitely still got that blockage in the head. But yeah, we
Yeah.
need, for us, we need Oscar. Like, he needs to flip this script.
He does. Yeah, he needs to step up. And look, Qatar has been good for him. So we've just got to hope that whatever is going on with his car, with the team, with him, that we can get on top of it again. Because he needs to be at the front. He needs to be leading the charge to really apply the pressure that to keep himself in this. Because if he qualifies like he has the past couple of races and races the way he has, he's basically out. Yeah.
Yep. No, it's over. If he does that, it's done. So, very interesting. And because it's a sprint, you don't have much time. So let's just wait and see what occurs in that one. All right.
Yes.
Well, let's completely drop the F1 stuff and make a run at the finals for Supercars. But before we do that, Damo, we have had some very sad news.
We have, yes. Obviously, past week, Allan Moffat was announced he's passed away after a reasonably long battle with dementia. And I guess I had the privilege of connecting with Allan and being quite involved with him as part of our car club that I was involved with. He's not just a proper gentleman. He shared his time and his energy with us over many years, but he was always just an amazing storyteller and obviously an amazing gifted race car for many years. The countless stories that he shared, from the famous Bathurst 1-2 in 77 to, the stories about running in with the officials and the RX-7 period, stuff like that. It was all, he just loved sharing those stories and some of the intricacies of what happened behind the scenes. I guess the penultimate thing was he really loved sharing stories about his great mate Peter Brock, and some of the adventures that they used to get themselves into. So Allan will be missed, but he will not be forgotten. To his family and friends and to others that we know work closely with him, send our condolences on the passing of a great man and driver, Vale Allan Moffat.
Vale Allan Moffat. And if I could add to that, there is a great story that he used to tell that when he first got to the track with Ford, they took him up and stopped over the top of Skyline, and they were looking out saying, what a tremendous view.
Yeah.
And Allan, being Allan, said, look, aren't we pressed for time? Shouldn't we get to the racetrack? And they kindly reported to Allan that this is
You're on it.
You're on it. And that was the last time he looked left crossing over Skyline, he famously said. And he was a great man. I only ever met him in passing, but he always seemed to have time for anyone and everyone. So, our condolences to the Moffat family. Okay.
Righto.
Let's gear up, because this is it, Damien. This is the last time. This is the round to end all rounds. This is the final series of Supercars. This is Brock Feeney versus Chaz Mostert versus Will Brown, who can't qualify, and the rookie is here, Kai Allan.
Can you believe that Kai Allan made it through and just performed exactly what he had to do? They weren't going to tinker or try and push Matt Payne through instead of him. He earned the spot. He's in there. And now he has every chance of taking, can you imagine, a rookie taking the championship? Can you imagine? My goodness, what a story that would be.
Mate, AVL is frothing at the point of this happening. No, he's not actually. He is terrified that this will happen because he wants the finals to stick around, and he feels like that if Kai Allan ends up winning this, then everyone will be out with a pitchfork saying that the final series is a hoax and everything else. I disagree.
Yeah.
I think it'll be the greatest story we've ever heard, where a rookie has come in and obliterated them in the finals. And that's all you got to do. He's played the system perfectly. He's built up to speed. He's been quick when it counts, and he's done the right things when he needed to. That gets you in there. Now he returns to a track that he actually went to last year for the first time.
So it's not the first time he'll be there. We don't have to listen to the commentary team saying 400 times, "He's never been here."
No, but it's the first time that he's going back to a track that he knows.
Yeah, which is great. Like when you're competing in the final system and you can actually go back to a track you've raced at, that's great news. And look, I think arguably, this might ruffle feathers, but he deserves to be there more than Brown, in my opinion. Brown was so lucky that he just had a Triple Eight car underneath him and he could race to get the points he needed through, because his results haven't been great, but also just his qualifying has been so poor. To think in a Triple Eight car, 15th and 20th sometimes, like it's just, it's crazy. So it's all to play for. Yeah,
we're not betting, but what would be the wager on Austin Cindric out qualifying him? How much is that paying? I should go down to Sportsbet.
That'll have big odds. That will have big odds. And
Harry Brownie.
That'd be awesome. Talking about the finals, there's sort of been this murmuring, the last few rounds prior, of people having a bit of a whinge about the final system.
Wrong.
And that Brock, sort of kind of deserves to win.
Wrong.
I find it staggering that after all the races, basically since Bathurst on, where we have just had absolutely diabolical people diving through to get points, smashing Cam Waters style, like just doing anything they can to try and get through to the final system. And to argue that this isn't working, I think that it's just crazy that that anybody could see this as a negative to the sport. And I know, like, some people have said that, if a rookie does win it, that's, it's going to really detract from it. But I sort of feel like that stance has softened a little bit, where people kind of realize that, both Chaz in particular, but also Kai, have been doing exactly what they need to at the right times to get themselves into the finals. It's fair game. So, I guess I'd ask you, mate, does Kai really have a chance, do you think?
Yeah, he does. 100% he does. You're in with a chance no matter what. And his qualifying in the last two rounds has been excellent. Like, he's been in that sort of top 5, top 7 consistently. And we're going to a track that Penrite tends to like. I mean, WAU likes it as well, and so does AAA. But Penrite have always had a pretty good run down there. So anything is possible. I mean, if he comes and puts it on pole, people are going to shit themselves, because it'll do things to their brain, because they're suddenly going to go, well, hang on a second, this kid's a rookie. He's made it to the finals, and you're telling me now he has car pace? Like, he is the outlier 100%, but there is no reason why he doesn't have the tools in the shed to go racing and to get the job done. I mean, we've seen first race wins at Adelaide before. No reason it can't happen again.
Well, I mean, on that, like, having a teammate who is also fast to get himself in the mix to help out. We saw how that worked for WAU at Sandown. So, now you've got Woody and Payne both kind of there trying to get their boys ahead. So it could end up being quite messy for the Triple Eight, who, what happens if they're double stacking? What happens if they're, take each other out? I mean, imagine what's going to happen.
Mate, when you insert Wood, you always get Payne. Hey! those two are gonna cause immense pain, and they're gonna cause pain for Triple Eight, because I think Chaz is right. He said that, who are Triple Eight going to prioritize? And it's easy to say they're going to prioritize whoever's in front, but that could vary between each day, and that could harm either or going through. So it just, I think having your teammate in there helping out when that doesn't really matter to them is just a big up. And then they're not going to go and do something to stop. But let's just say that Payne is in front and Kai has managed to find himself in second place. Payne's going to move over and become the biggest roadblock you've ever seen. And it's not doing anything illegal either. It's just racing. He's racing for position. He's allowed to do that any which way he sees fit. And I'm here for it. Like, and it could boil over. It could result in someone trying to move them out the way and getting pinned for it, and then it just gifts the rookie the title. Like, these are the stories that you get with this type of thing. How can you not be excited? That is awesome.
And you know what else could be very exciting? Chaz Mostert could finally seal the deal. Not only would you get Ford a win as they're about to move to Toyota, but he would finally get a championship win for himself. He's got the Bathurst. This is the one he wants. And it's been we've had fleeting moments, but I haven't seen him this focused in the last few rounds ever. You know, he is absolutely red hot.
2016 was the last time that I saw him this focused before he had that monumental at Bathurst. And he would have, was it 16 or 15? Maybe it was 15, sorry.
15 when he had the crash.
Yeah. So he was in contention for the championship then. And no disrespect to Frosty, but if he doesn't have that incident, I think he clinches it. That's just my personal belief. And I think it's a different outcome if that happens to what has happened for Mostert going forward. So yes, I hope with every bit of my soul that he comes away with this and wins, because he deserves it. And he's played perfectly. He's done what he needed to do to get into the finals. He's worked out along the way what his car needs, and he's using it to full effect now.
Couldn't agree more. Let's hope, because he's our pick, right?
Oh, of course, 100% our pick. I mean, we're Mostert fans from when he turned up. I mean, he's just that guy, and I think unless you're a Brock Feeney fan, I think he's the one that people are picking. Well, that's what it seems like anyway.
Yeah, I do feel that if, you know, even those that are like Brock Feeney fans or perhaps want the old traditional championship, I think if Chaz actually wins, I don't think there's going to be an uproar. There's going to be a massive issue. There'll be some people having a whinge, but I think most people understand he's been a lead driver in the category, so he's kind of deserved. He's earned it. So, yeah, looking forward to. Oh, dear.
It kicks off tomorrow, mate. We are.
I know.
We are recording on a Wednesday for all those that don't know, and we are pumped. It starts tomorrow, and I'm ready for it. I'm pissed that I have to work on Friday and I'm missing shit because I want to see what's going on, and I'm going to try and get all my work done early so that I can
got some time.
Do that. Yes. I mean, I never do that at work. I work. La 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 la. But honestly, this is the finals, and it's got me. I want to see it. I'm revved up for it. This is it. Come on, bring it.
And so what do you think of some of the other like disruptors that could be there? I mean, we've got your usual contenders that go well at Adelaide, like a Courtney, Percat, you know, those sort of people.
Yep.
But then we've got someone like Austin Cindric, who is first time out, learning how to heel and tow. Looks okay from the in-car footage, actually. Better than I thought he would be. But, I mean, the car looks amazing. But how do you think he's going to go? You're going to put money down that he's going to out-qualify Brownie?
It's pretty easy to out-qualify Brownie. Stick me in the car, I'll out-qualify him. Hey, yeah, tickets.
Yeah.
Now, how good is it to see? We not only do we have Austin Cindric in the actual field from NASCAR Cup Series, but we also have
Yeah.
Jesse Love, who's going to be running in the Super 2 program. He is the current Xfinity NASCAR champion, for any of those who don't know. So we have two really good Americans out here about to do battle with our guys in a series that is seriously fierce and difficult to drive at the best of times. So, mate, that car is possibly the best looking Gen 3 car we have in the field. That thing looks sick. I love it.
I had the reminiscence, like the orange. I sort of felt like it was like, remember, which wasn't my favorite, but the trading post car that we had that was Will Davo's.
Yep.
But this is just like a much better version. Really strong, bold. Looks really cool. Really cool.
Right. It looks like, do you remember I did a livery on the BMW GT3 in iRacing many moons ago that was orange and blue? It's similar to that. So it's got my tick of approval.
Trademark, yeah.
Trademark it. Pay me money. No. No, look, in terms of how you go, I think the only way you can judge this really is if he's within the top 20. That's mega.
Yeah.
If he goes any higher than like a top 15, outstanding. Because he's got a lot to learn. He's driving on the other side of the car. It's how to set up these cars because they got such a small window.
Yeah.
Add into the fact that he's driving for bloody Tickford, which is, we know, is a nightmare at times. No offense, Tickford, we love you, but Jesus Christ, please get your shit together. And yeah, I mean, my it'll be very interesting. We talk about Brownie not qualifying well, but like Randall and Waters have shown they're not the greatest right now, or the cars aren't the greatest. I mean, if Austin even nicks one of them in a qualifying session, I think that would be pretty mega. He's going to probably learn the hard way in racing. But then again, he's used to being roughed up in NASCAR, so I don't expect his racecraft will be that poor.
Well, I think it's all good to look at what the positive outcomes might be. What happens if he's a second off the pace in quali? If he's causes some mayhem on the back as a back marker? Like, what happens if it doesn't really pan out the way that we'd hope? Because there's some possible big ramifications that could happen.
Yeah, look, I agree. There are, but I think Austin's very professional. In every interview and every podcast I've heard him on so far, he's talked about, ticking off boxes and really putting in the homework beforehand to really get an understanding of what he needs to do, how he needs to do it. We've seen the onboard. If this was a random sort of kid, maybe I'd feel a bit differently about it, but he's not. He is a professional. He's driven in many series, not just NASCAR. And I think he's got enough nous to not get caught up in anything too silly. Will he likely find the fence at turn 8? Yeah, look, I mean, that's a high probability at some point in the weekend that he does, because so many have. And just same with Jesse Love. Like there is just that possibility because of the nature of the course that you will. But yeah, I think ultimately I don't think he's going to get into trouble. He's not going to do a Paul Dumbrell type situation back in the Perkins days where he caused the incident at turn 8 and stuck his nose in. I think he's a bit smarter than that. I think he'll be fine. I don't actually have any issues with him being in the race car. I mean, look, my argument is we need more of it. We need to get Kevin Estra back. We need to get, a few of these guys from around the world to come down and play and just keep this ship moving forward.
Yeah, I really hope it is successful because, it gives that great opportunity where we've had drivers going to NASCAR and they then possibly have that opportunity to come back and drive in our series. So I really hope it does work. but I guess let's move back to our local people. And yeah, let's say slight blunder, but Kostecki signs massive dick Johnson Racing till 2030. Yeah.
Did you say Kostecki signed a massive dick Johnson
Well,
Racing contract?
that's the way it looked because the cutoff did not land very well when you have a look at it on socials.
That has to be intentional. Like, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
someone in Supercars was giggling their ass off and went, you know what? I'm just going to fire it in there. I don't care of the ramifications. And then to top it off, the comments back from Brody was that it just got put in front of me. I couldn't resist signing or something along those lines.
But
it's atrocious.
I mean, I think it has to be intentional because I mean, you think about the name of the team. You could have done DJR, but the actual name of the team is Shell V Power Racing, right? So, yeah, the fact that they went with the long version of the name is very sus, very sus. But good news, it was kind of happening anyway, but just made it official. And
I think it shows that the team have really enjoyed Brody coming on board, and what his intensity, what he's bringing to the table is incredible. And we know that he's hands on with the cars, so we know that he'll get in and fix it if he busts it up like he did at the Gold Coast and things like that. And I think it makes the rest of the team really bond over it, because they know it's more than just a driver turning up like a Will Brown who looks at a tire and kicks it and says, I don't know, there's something wrong.
That's why he's in the best team, because he doesn't know any of that shit, and Triple Eight can take care of it for him.
Yeah, quite literally.
Yeah.
All right, so we have some, obviously, is it sad? I don't think it's sad. Look, Will Davison, Nick Percat and James Courtney, it's their farewell tour this weekend. James Courtney's car this weekend. Have you seen it, Damo?
Chef's kiss.
Love that.
I mean, it's always been a good-looking car with the more kind of teal color, but that contrast they've done looks amazing. Well done.
Throwback to the Jim Beam Championship days, and it looks absolutely mega. Obviously, it can't be exactly the same as that, but they have followed it, and it looks great. The Mustang looks spectacular, and they've got a new livery for Aaron Love as well. Back to that red, full red. Redac, is it Redac? I can't remember what their name is, but that looks good as well. I always like that livery. And but we've got the farewell James Courtney, farewell Nick Percat, and farewell Will Davison. Anything to say on those three, or feel like it's a bit just we know?
Yeah, we do know. I think look, Will put out a really big written post that was. I think it's worth a read. Just, I think, don't want to read too much into it, but there were some certain comments or certain phrases that he used that you think, okay, there you go. But I definitely think we've said, it's probably time for Davo to step aside. Obviously the Nick Percat one, I believe he's running his original 222 number, I think is the go for the weekend. And it's he's kind of done it on his own terms. He's been bold, he's been out there, and it'll be good to sign off. And Nick and James go well sometimes, pretty well at so you never know where they could stick their nose in there. And maybe Davo could actually get something done. As he closes out.
Sounds like Nick Percat. Well, we know Nick Percat's at AAA for next year, so he's returning to Ford. That's weird to say.
Yes.
And Courtney is jumping fence to Team 18. To I don't know who he's driving with right now, but so that they're booked in. Will Davison, however, is not booked in, but we did have some news that might point to where he might be headed, because we touched on Allan Moffat, but James Moffat, his son, has left the Tickford fold. Leaving a space there for one Will Davo, I would expect, wouldn't you?
I probably would. I'm not sure whether or not it's the right place to go.
Well, it
But
brings back Davo and Frosty together.
it does. It does. It brings back him and Tickford again. But I sort of feel like Wilbur needs a team that has a bit more shit together. To be honest.
Oh, poor Tickford.
Yeah.
Come on, Nemo, be nice.
No.
No, look, look. I think this comes down to places you can go, and obviously Triple Eight are full.
Yeah.
And
There's not much left.
we know that DJR are full.
Yeah.
But I think Wilbur's destined for the Tickford seat. Personally,
Okay.
so yeah, we'll just wait and see how that goes. Now,
One of the final things in terms of news, the push from the Supercars teams seems to have been successful, and there's going to be some changes in Super 2 land. Is that right?
so this is you're talking
Yeah.
about the fact that they're going to allow the Gen 3 into the Super 2 field as of, what was it, 27 or 28, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Irrelevant of that, whenever it's coming in, dumbest move ever, most expensive move ever. When the category, as in Super 2 itself, can't afford to put up the current specification cars, and now you're telling me, oh, we're going to give them even more expensive cars. This is just filling the pockets of the main Supercars guys without any respect to, one, the young guys coming through the field that want to get up into that level, or two, the teams that have to fund this shit and go racing. Like, you guys, you need a better plan. And I know I've said it before with NASCAR, and how they run the Xfinity series and how they run the main and everything else. You need a car that's more serviceable for the Super 2 guys, and for, if you reintroduce it, Super 3. Like, the TA2 could become Super 3, for fuck's sake, and Trans Am could become Super 2. It's a far cheaper situation, and it will go that way anyway because it's cheaper. It's so much cheaper.
Yeah. Well, it's like this never-ending circle of the big teams need to be able to fund their stuff ongoing, so they have to sell their shit down. The teams in Super 2 are kind of hamstrung because they have to run, the ones that, like your Egglestons and those at the top, they'll have to find the fund somewhere. And then you're going to have this breaking point of where the drivers aren't going to be able to get the money, and the teams are not going to be able to get the money to be able to pay for this. So what is going to happen is people will go where they can afford it, and your Trans Am, like you tell that is, and arguably from what some of the drivers say, is that it's a closer comparison anyway from the current Super 2s to Gen 3. They're going to do a whole season of Trans Am, or maybe 2 rounds or 3 rounds of a fucking Super 2 season,
It's just expensive. Ultimately, it's just too expensive to buy a Gen 3 or a Gen 2 or build a Gen 2. They're too expensive. The point of all this, if we go back to 2011 when they first announced Car of the Future and all that shit, the point of all this was meant to be that these cars became cheaper and safer. And all they've done is added expense and maybe they are safer, but the expense is ridiculous. Like, it's gone out of this world. And when it's like, oh yeah, we're bringing these engines in because these engines are, they're going to run for 3,000 kilometers. You're not going to have to replace them as often, so it's cheaper for the teams. Blah blah blah. Yet I'm still hearing that these guys are spending astronomical amounts of money, even though that they're not running their own workshop with an engine in it anymore. Like, it's mind-boggling. I don't get it. It needs a rework. It needs a rethink for Gen 4, whatever that is, to actually get these cars under control. Like, yes, they're race cars, but they don't need to be that expensive. I'd rather them be able to tear the fucking things apart and then rebuild them than for them to be driving around going, oh shit, I can't touch him because, I'm going to get slapped by the boss. I'm not sure what that voice was. I'm so sorry about that. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's making me cringe, that's for sure. So,
It's what happens when I get angry.
yeah. Well, let's get you happy. Let's close out this pod and let's sort of think about, Steve, what are you looking forward to? Who do you think's going to win both the races? But let's stick to the championship. What's your take, mate? Come on.
What am I looking forward to most? I'm actually looking forward to Austin Cindric the most and seeing how he goes. That is my 100% what I'm looking forward to. Who do I think will win each of the 3 races? I'm going to say that Moffat wins the first 2 races. He wins the little sprint on Friday and he wins the Saturday race. And then I'm going to say Kostecki wins the finale race.
Oh, okay. No Triple Eight stuff in there at all. I think Chaz, what I'm looking forward to the most, so I should say that first, is I'm just excited for through each session what that intensity is going to look like for the top 4. We've seen it from the 10 to the 7, and now we've got the top 4. I'm really loving that intensity of watching them through each session and what it means for them, because it is really do or die. Now is the time to take that lunge, to dive, brake late, do what you need to do. And so that is what I'm looking forward to most. I think Chaz is going to get that first one, that 32 lapper on Friday.
Yep.
I think Brock is going to take the second one. And I think Chaz will take the third one and win the championship.
Oh, there's your championship winner. Yeah, look, I mean, we sort of said it earlier and we probably foiled that. But yeah, Chaz for champion. That's what we want. If it's not him, then it has to be Kai. What I'd really, really love is that Feeney fucks up in qualifying somewhere along the lines, and then Brown runs into him accidentally because they're side by side, and they both end up in the fence, and the cars are written off, and they can't go racing anymore, and everybody is just happy because nobody wants to see a Red Bull win other than idiots who go for Red Bull. Oh, did it? I just alienated people.
You're making me laugh too much. Sorry. You're just alienating all those people. There are people that want it, but it would be nothing. I think the lure of beating McLaughlin's pole record is going to be too strong. So it's either going to make or break Brock. I think he'll be right for some of them. But I really think that it's important that Chaz needs to take that first win, because that's going to set the tone for the weekend. I think so. If he can do that, he'll be a long way forward of securing his first championship.
Yeah, let's hope he gets it done, because we need it, and he needs it, because it's absolutely ridiculous when you think about it. The fact that he doesn't have a championship yet, that guy's caliber is way above most, and I think he deserves it, and hopefully in his final run with Ford, well, at least for now, he can get that done.
Indeed. All right, mate. Well, that wraps it all up. I'm excited, getting ready. By the time this pod comes out to you people, we'll be getting ready to watch. So, yeah.
I thought you were going to say giggling, mate, like little schoolgirls going,
yeah, well, I would, but it would just make me cough. So I'm not going to do that. Still coughing up a lung every now and then.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. You know what to do. Click, subscribe, all those things. Follow us on the socials at the Valve Bounce. And Damo, you rest up and enjoy some epic weekend of Formula One and Supercars racing.
Come on, Chaz. Let's go.
Let's go, Chaz.
Thanks everybody.
Bye.